to Washington Football Week with your host, one half of that dynamic duo, Sean Spencer, and South Carolina's finest, Will Kramer.
Don't play us if you're undefeated.
Where we celebrate past success while looking to a bright future. There's a youth movement in Washington, and they're ready to take the reins. Led by fire.
Play aggressive, D.
It's a new day. New dawn. No longer the laughing stock. It's time to take command.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy, Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that is Let's Talk Football. And you see who I'm with. You see who I'm with that great shirt behind him and the great shirt on him. South Carolina's finest, Will Kramer. What up, Will?
Sean, it is so good to talk to you once again. It's
Yes, sir. Long overdue, my friend. Long overdue.
It is. I can't believe that I was able to pull you away from NCAA for like an hour.
Come on.
An hour and a half.
Come on. Buddy, look, let me tell you something, man. I don't like to admit this, but there has not been many other things I've been doing. I've been playing nonstop, and I've waited 11 years for this game. Daggone it, Will. This is my game, and I'm in love with it, buddy.
We need to expand on this real quick because the game you got access to the game. I think on a Monday night. I think it was.
Monday at 4. Yeah.
Monday at 4. By Tuesday, you had a national championship or a season all the way through.
Yep. I did.
I'm like, it's like Tuesday at 11. How is he done? He didn't sleep last night.
Nope. I was giddy at 4 o'clock when it came right on time, and I ended up getting it. And like you said, I was talking to you and Alex about it, and honestly, I just dove into Dynasty, and it was I was able to super sim a lot of it, but I started just getting into it and playing, and there's no shame in my game, man. I've been waiting for this 11 years. I was going to put in that time. It just so happened Kat was out of town at that time as well, so it all worked out well.
It did. That was the perfect time. She knew that when she's like, I'm going to
It was great, man. It was absolutely great. Well, what's up, man? How you been? You mentioned it's been a long time. You right.
It has. And I should be full disclosure to the folks. Sean asked me for the last 8 weeks, hey, you do anything? You want to go on Wednesday? Hey, you want to go on Wednesday? And then you finally just kind of, and I kept saying, nah, I got nothing to talk about. It's middle of June. I got nothing to talk about. The 4th of July. And you finally just stopped asking me because you realized that I needed a break. And not because obviously I don't love doing this, because I had nothing to talk about,
Yeah.
During after minicamp and everything, I was like, I don't know what we could talk about. So I'm thrilled that we're, training camp is here and we're able to dive back into this stuff, and we're not, having to fish for content. And it's great to be able to talk to you again.
Yeah, no, the part that you did say was the topics I was suggesting were which past Redskin great was so-and-so, and what's, what quarterback maybe could we potentially get, or this and that, just random stuff, man. So you're right, man, but I'm glad it's getting closer to that time. It's middle to the end of July, or actually end of July, to be honest. It's what, 24th today?
Yeah.
Yeah, August is right around the corner. Preseason is right around the corner. It's good. Look, Johnny said, I still got nothing to talk about.
Johnny understands what I'm saying.
Johnny, you better prepare for us. Week 1, baby. Let's go, Tampa.
Yeah, they better get ready. We'll be ready.
Don't worry about me, Johnny. Look, let's go ahead and get right into it, man. Hey, we talked about this. This is the off season, and Washington was not quiet. We got to work right away, right when the free agency opened, and made a number of signings. Austin Eckler, Frank Lavue, Bobby Wagner, Biotis, Allegretti. I mean, on and on. Like went all in, and you and I have talked about this a lot, how we love what our coach and GM and all these guys are doing. It looks great, but let's narrow it down, man. I mean, we're getting close to that time where we're actually gonna get to see some of these guys get on the field. Who was the biggest free agent signing on the offense in your opinion?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the position group that you love. That is the most unsexy. And I'm going to say that Tyler Biotis, the center that came from Dallas, it was our most important free agent signing on offense. Because for one, you're putting a veteran free agent that is now paired with a rookie quarterback to kind of help him out with calls, with checks, with calling out where blitzes may be, alignments, that type of stuff. You've got we were able to solidify that offensive line. It's been a turnstile the last couple of years because of injuries or because of poor play last year. You know, we had guys like Tyler Larson, who was in his 10th year, getting significant playing time the last 3 years.
Right.
When, you know, he's a backup and he shouldn't be playing half a season. So I think that's going to be really important. And it was a bolster to our weakest unit last year. And with the hope that, you know, by putting, you know, a strong player right at center, it can help some of the other positions to start to fortify because they have a big task ahead of them in protecting and helping out a rookie quarterback.
Oh yes, protecting that investment, man, and you know you gotta throw that little salt on it that I love even more that it came from Dallas. You know, I love that taking players away from Dallas is always lovely. For me,
and
you know,
before you name yours, there's one more thing on Biotis that helps out me and my family. He comes from Wisconsin.
There you go.
If I ever need to get the boys a jersey, I mean, my in-laws
Come
say,
on.
all right, well, it's Biotis. Okay, sure.
Let's go. You always wanted your white boy offensive lineman from Wisconsin. Let's go, baby.
Right, corn-fed white boys.
That's right. You know, I can't wait, man. I'm so excited to see it. Like you said, man, him being the quarterback of the O-line and being able to call protections and things like that, I'm super excited for because that was definitely a hole for us a year ago. Look, you know, Will, when I played in high school, you know the position that I love a little bit more than O-line is running back. And for me, Johnny, wait, you got Eckler. That is it for me, man. Getting Austin Eckler, just because of just how surprising it was. We were like, oh, snap. Eckler and Wagner were just like, oh, what? They want to come here? They want to play in Washington? So I love this because, A, this is going to take some pressure off Brian Robinson. Take some pressure off, you know, so he's not going to have so much of a workload. B, I think this guy, I mean, you know how great Eckler is, and anybody that's played in fantasy football every year except for last year, he is one of those top guys that you want to get because he's such a great dual threat guy. He's great in space. I told you off screen, he's Antonio Gibson 2.0 in my opinion. He can do all the things that we wanted Antonio Gibson to do, but when he's healthy, I mean, we saw he was elite in that Chargers offense, man. So I love this, and now that it's settling in and you're starting to see him and we're, you know, training camp is upon us, it's like, okay, this is real. And hopefully last year was a blip on the radar, just a little, you know, a hiccup, and he can remain healthy. Because if we get a healthy Austin Eckler, oh my goodness, man, that running game would be elite. And you know what it reminds me of? You remember years ago when we got Larry Centers from the Cardinals?
Yes.
And how he was that great outlet. I mean, you know, he ran the ball, but he also was able to help us in the pass game, man. That's what I look at when I look at Austin Eckler, man. So I'm so hyped for this.
That's a great analogy. I love Larry Centers. That was one of those like under the radar free agent
Yep.
signings that was just huge that the Redskins did. No, I'm with you. There was times when at first I had feelings of like when Austin Eckler signed, I got excited in the standpoint of just like you said, like he's considering coming here. Like a guy who just like a year or two ago was a top fantasy player, a huge threat, like unknown to defense. We have to stop this guy. He wants to come to Washington and play and he knows he's not the starter. But then I also had a little bit of shades of the offseason where we added Willie Parker and Larry Johnson, and neither one of them made the roster that year either. But but I will say this, that, this regime is a whole lot smarter than the regime was that signed those guys. So I certainly think he's got something in the tank. And I think, like you said, you just laid out a great opportunity for him to be a weapon where he has the ability to, not have to carry the load the entire time with B-Rob here, but play a significant role as a threat on defense and really help us stretch the field. So I'm excited about him too. I'm excited to see what he brings.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah, man. Let us know who you think is the biggest free agent signing on the offense. Again, when we come to get with you guys next time, we'll talk about defense, and we'll also give you an opportunity to say who is the best defensive free agent signing. I'm pretty sure we're pretty similar, but we'll see. We're a little different on that. But look, speaking of the offense, and we talked about that O-line. We know how many quarterbacks we've gone through over the last 20 years, and that is the number one thing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're a little bit better.
Good. Okay. That is the number one thing that's been a big deal to us in that O-line. Now, more than ever, we got a quarterback that we need to protect in JD5. And look, the sky is the limit for this guy. I mean, really break about what this could be. I mean, Will talked about it. He's projected to be in that conversation for Rookie of the Year. And, another one, he's number 2 picking one, Caleb Williams. Will, what's your thought, man? Let's go way ahead of the game and take a look at this. Who's your pick? Caleb or Jaden? Who gets the Rookie of the Year?
Yeah, ain't it nice to be in a situation like this where we have a player that's being considered for Rookie of the Year?
Right?
It certainly is. It's an interesting comparison, and these two are going to get connected for years because the Bears have assembled quite the roster there. The fact that he's got 2 wide receivers, DJ Moore, they brought in Keenan Allen. They signed DeAndre Swift as their running back. They have Cole Kmet, who he's like one of those guys where like every year they're say he's going to be on a breakout, and then he doesn't. So he's got some talent around him. Their offensive line is actually better than ours too. So Caleb's in a position to be very successful. As much as we kind of like make fun of the Bears and for how many losing seasons they've had, they actually assembled quite the roster and put him in a position to succeed to the point where I would almost say Caleb has better weapons than Jaden out there. So he may have a better chance of being Rookie of the Year. But if you want to go based on the hype, with Jaden, ball doesn't drop when he plays. Whereas you go look at Caleb and they say he's struggling out there. So, I mean, come on. Let me tell you something, Sean. I go up to North Carolina on Sunday. I got to work up there for about 2 days, kind of near Raleigh area-ish. And North Carolina, with its Democratic governor, has allowed for some sports bets to be placed. Unlike South Carolina with our Republican old school governor who doesn't like revenue. And so I might be putting some wagers on this here, and I'm going to put it on Jaden Daniels.
Let's go, man. Let's go. And look, I don't want to be a homer and go this, and I'm you know what? I'm not. I am going to continue to be skeptical on this guy. I love what we've been hearing from Jaden Daniels. Like you said, I mean, nothing's dropping. You know what I mean? Only one pass breakup, and everything else is hitting all the receivers. They're loving it coming out. We're all loving it. But the fact of the matter is, like you said, Chicago has been building up. They have been building a unit over there. And, Washington, we still got a couple pieces maybe to go. So I think I do, and Johnny said boo Caleb, but I think I do have to go with Caleb on this one, because I do think with that array of wide receivers he has, with that Montez Sweat and some of those defensive guys that they got coming back there, if they can get that running game going, and if Caleb can duplicate the amazing ability that we saw coming out in college, I got to lean a little bit more towards him. But look, again, like you started with, this is a great situation to be in when people are looking at us like, oh, man, this could be the top guy. I mean, he was a Heisman Trophy winner, and that's only happened one other time when we got Desmond Howard. So,
yes. Yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah. What a great. Well, I can't say what a great spot to be in, because we had such a terrible year, but how lucky we are now to have something. And I think the thing about that you're going to see, even if Daniels does not win Rookie of the Year, I think he's going to get so much media hype for his play out there. I mean, I think he's going to get so much love. I mean, we're talking like RG3 level type love in his rookie year.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I love that. And it's going to be positive love. We're not going to have to put an asterisk on it because of the stuff with the owner and all this stuff. You know what I mean? We have good people in house, and I'm loving that he's coming into that situation.
Yeah. Johnny's not wrong. He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Look, I am scarred, okay, from Sam Howell, daggone it, all right? I can't do it. But no, will tell you, Johnny, over the last, 4 years, each of the last 3 guys that we got went all in. Fitzpatrick, yeah. I do. Carson Wentz, I try to defend Carson Wentz. And then obviously my guy Sam Howell.
Yeah.
So, I mean, look, I am cautiously optimistic, and I know at the end of the day, once we see that first touchdown pass, once we see training camp, honestly, I'm probably going to be sold. But once we get into the season and see him dominating, then I'm gonna jump on board. But until that happens, man, this is hype, and I'm excited about it though.
Yeah.
But look, so going along with that, let's talk about it. Preseason's right around the corner. This year we only have 3 games in this season. I know we play New England, and then Cincy, maybe?
We go New England, the Dolphins at home. We go to the Dolphins, and then the Patriots at home.
Okay, nice. So I'll definitely be watching that Patriots game. See my guy Drake May? Yes, sir.
Yeah, you should go to it.
We definitely want to see that one. So what are we thinking now? There's only 3 games left. This guy is this is the investment. This is the guy that we wanted. We don't want anything to happen to him. He's still a little bit on the skinnier side, so he might be susceptible to injury. But what are your thoughts? Do you think he should play in preseason?
I do.
Yeah.
He's a rookie. How can you tell me that a rookie doesn't need any snaps in preseason games? And I think we could be smart about it. If you look at some of the trends in preseason, where actually the teams that have established offenses take preseason as something, and what they do is they try to get into a passing rhythm. And I think you can do things that prevent the defense from getting a chance to get with him. It's the famous thing that I say every single week. Let's throw a bunch of quick hitters out there. Give him a bunch of slants to go to, to get his feet weight. Slants and screens, But you could do some of that stuff so that he gets a chance to feel some of the speed of the NFL before the games start counting. Because week 1, if he goes from playing at LSU and then to the NFL, and that's going to be a jump. The speed's going to be a jump, and it's important. I also thought he really should play at our stadium once just to understand the lights, the sidelines, the sight
Yes.
views, the clock, all that stuff. But then I'm also looking here at saying, well, that's the third game, and usually, you don't want to play people like him. But hey, it may be the same thing. He gets one series at I'm going to call it Jack Kent Cooke Stadium. That's what I'm going to call it.
There we go.
So he could get one series at Jack Kent Cooke Stadium so he can kind of get acclimated, so he's ready to go when we're back for week 2. Which I normally would have said he should skip the Patriots game, but yeah, absolutely. I think it doesn't have to be much. I think you could be safe with it, but he should be playing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And look, at the end of the day, this guy still needs the reps. He needs those reps. I think that's ridiculous for anybody thinking that he should not play. He's got to get in there because, like you were saying, yes, he needs to get into the flow of the game. But also, I mean, let's be honest about our field. Less repairs have been done that I don't know about. Our field is still treacherous. He needs to get a feel of that.
I think this may be the one thing Ron Rivera did right in DC, which was fix the playing services. From what I think Ron might have fixed that, but you are correct in your point.
He needs to he needs to get acclimated with that stuff. And I know he'll be in house and in Ashburn and all that stuff. So I'm excited at what we are seeing now, but I think he needs to be Johnny. We know Johnny.
Was the world's
right? Get
That's
better.
MetLife Stadium where everyone tears their ACL.
Or ruptures their Achilles.
Or ruptures their Achilles. Yeah.
So yes, our opinion is definitely yes, he should play in preseason. Now, do you give him the starter role, or are you talking like first game he's playing a half, or what's the numbers? Are you doing a lot of action in each of the 3 games? I mean, I want the flow, like you were saying. I want him to get those high percentage passes and get the kind of flow and the speed and all that. But you also don't want to risk him getting hurt by some random kid that's just trying to make a team.
See, but I almost wonder at the opposite. Would it be worse if he's playing with Brandon Coleman getting his first snaps in the NFL and Mason Brooks at right guard? Where is it better to put him out there with the starters where Biotish is the one in front of him? Recognizing that veterans are out there to make plays, but you also, just like you said, they don't have to get the sack to make the roster. But Daniels is going to be the starter week 1. Like, they may not be naming him the starter right now, but we're not going down to Tampa with Marcus Mariota going out as a starter, barring injury. We have 2 different practices. I'm trying to think of the word training camp practices with the Jets, with the Dolphins. So there's a chance you could say he could run with the ones and those, but then not the preseason. But I think I might feel better just saying, hey, go ahead and run with the ones. You don't have to name him the starter, but you could, maybe you let JD run with the ones. You let Mariota run with the ones as well before they come out. So therefore, you're giving them both a chance. But I think I'd be more comfortable with him with our starters out there.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest. Like I kind of want to. Even if they don't think, like you said, JD5 is going to be starter week 1, and even if they know that for sure, I maybe want them to get the illusion that it is a competition. Make it so that this is something that you're going to ghost through this preseason.
That I didn't catch anything that you said.
All right, yeah. So I said I like that they're not naming him the starter right now, and I kind of want them, even if they already have it in their mind that he's going to be a starter, I kind of want them to still have the illusion of a competition. I mean, Ben, he's in the comments. Ben was number 1. Him and Nick all last year. Why wasn't it a competition between Sam Howell and JD and Jacoby Brissett? Well, now let's have that. Let's at least, I want JD5 to continue to always be on top of his game and not slip up. You know what I mean? Because let's be honest, I don't trust Marcus coming in relief.
No. We do. We got him.
Yeah. And you got to come up with something better than JD5. That's too much like Johnny 5. Johnny. So we are all in on him getting in. Oh, man. And, hey, look, appreciate you guys, Ben, Johnny. Appreciate you guys being here with us. We're going to keep it moving. For those of you that have been paying attention, which is most of us who've been paying attention to a lot of stuff that's been going on, as you know, there's a name that's been tied with Washington most of this offseason. And now that especially we got Jaden Daniels, this guy it's almost been a foregone conclusion that they're thinking he's coming here, or they're making rumors that he's coming here. Brandon Ayuk, for those of you that didn't see, we're going to play this. He walked off the field today at 49ers camp, and apparently he was going to talk to John Lynch. We all know he has his contract issues. Here it is. No, I had to cut that because I saw, listening to the song that was in the background when you're not on the rights to that. I think that was Aerosmith or something like that. But so talk to me about that. I mean, there's not much you can make out of that because anybody could just, people that just are sitting or, sitting at a training camp, they'll just be in their street clothes and everything like that. But, like, answer the question, is it any closer? Is he any closer to coming to DC, or is this just random news?
That video actually surprised me because I have not thought this entire time that he would be leaving San Francisco. They are going for a Super Bowl, and he is a key part of that. That's just not, you don't trade away pieces that you're going when you're going for a Super Bowl. But that was a very, very interesting look to like walk out of practice like that. Now, when I first saw it, I thought he kind of was walking out, not Antonio Brown-esque with the Bucs.
Throw a jersey and pad on.
But it was a little bit like, wow, did he just walk off the sidelines and leave? And now looking at that a second time, maybe it was a scheduled meeting and he was just moving in there. So it could be getting blown out of proportion. I don't think he's any closer to coming here. If the 49ers have to pull a trigger, he may want to come here. I don't know at this point if Adam Peters is really looking to tweak with the roster like that. That's a Dan Snyder move. And I just don't know. He may be saying, like, you know what? I've set my roster. I'm not interested.
Yeah. And I'm going to also be honest with you. We have a very fragile roster right now. We got a lot of youth on the team, a lot of new guys on the team, new coaching staff, all that stuff. I mean, when you sit there and see that kind of behavior, and I understand, it's warranted. He wants to get his contract. And again, that video, we don't know if he didn't look like he was disgruntled. Like you said, he wasn't Antonio Brown in it, throwing his pads and jersey and all that nonsense. But, even if it has come out in the news and he has not been quiet about him wanting a new contract and him kind of continually bringing this attention on him. And you got to think, maybe these guys, Adam Peters and Quinn, are like, no disrespect to the guy, but we just don't want that here. It's been relatively quiet this offseason, and we love that. Think about last year, what were we dealing with? Ron Rivera saying that, players were coming to him because Eric Bieniemy was, crying to them and yada, yada, yada. You know what I mean? So there's been no noise. I love that. So maybe they don't want to bring him in-house. But, again, we also know that San Francisco, wants at least the first. You know what I mean? So I don't think didn't you say we had offered them whatever we had offered they turned down? I
believe so. And apparently it's even come out that we were interested in him, and just recently. So we were interested in him before the draft, it said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we'll love this stuff about players who want a new contract. Yeah.
It is. Yeah. It is. And so if you look at the history of the 49ers, the last 4 or 5 contracts that they've signed long-term deals to, they've happened in July and August. I think George Kittle
Right.
signed his in the middle of training camp. It was like, all right, hey, go over there. We're extending you. So it really, really well could be exactly what Johnny's talking about here. Where like this is much ado about nothing. They're working through things, and Ayuk will be a 49er for the next 5 years.
Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest. It wouldn't along with what Adam Peters and those guys have been doing this offseason. Have been making some affordable moves. They've been making, moves and getting people, but it has not been a lavish Dan Snyder type moves getting his contract. So, I'm gonna be honest. I don't think it's in the cards. So,
as much as Alex Stevens may want it, they are not interested in appealing to his splash.
No, man, I don't think they will be, man. So, hey, we'll see. I'm just going to be following the story. We've been following it all off season. But, yeah, I don't think he's any closer. Wait. Sorry, we got to talk about something even Sean with Matt. Hey, we got to talk about something even Sean with his max headroom internet. Oh, my goodness. I apologize for my internet, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, man. But look, all right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a quick breather so I can try to work this thing out. Check out my guy, Mr. Anton Benton. Awesome artisan. Does good work.
Nice.
Hey, that is my guy, Anton Benton. He lives in Virginia Beach, but he definitely travels. He does all sorts of housework inside, indoors, outdoors, fixes stuff. I mean, go to his on Instagram. He's awesome_artisans. Definitely check out his work. He posts on there. And then Johnny saying, Jazz, Sean, really? Yes, I grew up on that. Come on now. Come on. And so we're getting into it right now. Hey, training camp is upon us, and look, we want to take a look at our offense. We want to take a look at our roster and kind of look at some of those early potential battles and who we're thinking is going to be in those top spots. So let's go into it right now with the training camp roster review. Will, if you can let us know we can start with quarterback or who's on the roster.
Yeah, so quarterbacks. It's been a while. Like you said, we had a lot of under-the-radar signings, and so we've got 4 quarterbacks on the roster this training camp. Obviously, Jaden Daniels. Marcus Mariota is the slated to be backup. And then the third spot is a battle between veteran Jeff Driscoll and undrafted free agent signing Sam Hartman. Those are the 4 that are going through it.
Let's go.
So if you look at that, what are your thoughts on the quarterback room? What do you think? Do you think, are we keeping 2 quarterbacks? Would we be keeping 3? Obviously we kind of understand the depth chart and all that, but, what are your thoughts about Driscoll? What are your thoughts about Hartman? What are your thoughts about Mariota?
Oh my goodness. That to me, it's weird because it's like the first and the fourth, I'm like, okay, I like those. Okay, I can do those. I love Hartman from college. I've talked to you guys about him from Wake Forest and then Notre Dame. And then obviously JD5, the Heisman Trophy winner and everything. But then you got those 2 guys in the middle where you get Mariota and look, I was one of those where when he came out of college, I was on the Mariota train. I wanted to bring him in here. And now we got him. I'm like, we got him way later than I really wanted him. He's already run his course, man. And so that, and then you told me Driscoll was on the team, which I think I messaged you. Wasn't that the guy that Dwayne Haskins beat in his first ever win?
That is
I think I was
correct.
at that game. So, oh man, but Driscoll has been in the league. He has won games in this league, so I think they would lean towards experience when it comes to that. But I'm eager to see if they would potentially keep Sam Hartman on the practice squad or stash him so that we can potentially see if they can mold him, see if they can try to build these guys up and maybe have him. I mean, we don't know what he's going to do in training camp, but maybe if we can have this guy keep him around with injuries, and who knows if we're going to keep a Jeff Driscoll and Mariota. We know when he was in Atlanta, he didn't play that full season. He got hurt and then kind of left the team. So, we don't know what's going to happen, but I definitely would like us to keep Sam Hartman around. But what are your thoughts? I mean, Mariota, Driscoll, not much to write home about.
I really missed wearing my Taylor Heineke shirt right now because it's been a long time since I haven't felt comfortable with our quarterback backup room. And right now, I don't like it one bit. I was actually never a Mariota fan. Even coming to Tennessee, I was like, he's going to bust. And because it's so hard to predict with that spread offense. I just felt he didn't do enough NFL wise. So I don't like Marcus Mariota as our backup one bit. I think it's going to be interesting, the battle between Hartman and Driscoll, because you said Jeff Driscoll's got the experience, but we also paid money. We gave Sam Hartman, was it over $300,000 to sign with us?
Right.
It was at least over $150 to sign with us. So there was something there behind it of we want you here, to the point where if you were to cut him and put him on your training camp roster, he's exposed for anybody else to bring him on. I wonder if because he hasn't shown anything in the league right now, I almost wonder if people would think, well, we'll take a flyer on him. I kind of feel like Sam Hartman has a chance to make this roster as the third quarterback, only because it's a roster stash. It's the classic Joe Gibbs. You're going to be on the team, but you're not going to play. And, if you happen to hurt your ankle at some point during the time, that ankle injury is going to take you out the entire year. Even if you just roll your ankle, that swollen ankle, that's going to require a whole season to mend the way Joe Gibbs used to do it. Because I think with Jeff Driscoll being on the roster, coming through all the training camp, you needed to sign him in an emergency. He could be ready. So you don't. I hate to say it to him as a guy who, I'm telling you, you're going to get cut because you're a veteran and you don't need to be the third, clipboard carrier. Maybe he's not as needed. So I actually kind of think Sam Hartman might make this team only because of the roster stash. But I don't love this quarterback outside of Jaden Daniels at all.
Oh, no. No, not at all. And that makes me want to definitely focus a lot more on our own line, because we cannot afford for Daniels to go down, because and even with Hartman, we don't know. Look, I think it's a great roster stash for Hartman, and I've shouted his praises for years. He still holds all the Wake Forest passing records and some of the ACC all-time passing records. He was amazing out there. Didn't have as much. Didn't have the similar time of luck when he was at Notre Dame, but still had a pretty solid year. But I think he has it in him. Obviously, the ladies love him with those long flowing locks and whatnot. But I think we should keep him. And it is that what has he done? We don't know what he's done. We could take a flyer on him, and what Driscoll's done. You know where Mariota's been, and both of them, like you said, don't give me confidence that we're gonna be okay if something goes down, because we have to remember JD5 is still skinny. He's taken a beating when he was in the SEC. He's already played a good 5 years in college. You know what I mean? He's no spring chicken. So
yeah,
it's gonna be interesting.
Right. And Johnny, you're right. No, as we can say, we're not thrilled about this quarterback room either. And I don't know if I'm more thrilled about who's helping to coach up JD. I guess, he's going to rely on his coaches and not the guys in the quarterback room right there. But, who knows? Maybe Mariota can teach a few things. He just can't do it on his own.
Yeah. He can teach him how to be professional. He knows what he's doing there.
Right. Right.
All right, Will, let's move on to man.
Yeah, your favorite topic here. So running backs, we got some staples in there that we know. Brian Robinson, we mentioned how Austin Eckler was signed as a free agent. We've got Chris Rodriguez, who was a third down back or just backup last year. We signed veteran Jeremy McNichols, who's bounced around the league a little bit. He was once on Hard Knocks. Where was it? Well, maybe with the Bucks is when Jeremy McNichols was on the team. And then there are
he had some time with the Titans too, didn't he?
Titans. He also came from San Francisco, so keep that in mind.
Okay.
And there are two undrafted free agents. Austin Jones out of Southern Cal, 5'10", 200 pounds. Michael Wiley out of Arizona, 5'10", 209 pounds. So, hearing the running backs room, what are your thoughts here?
I'm loving, obviously, the top two with Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler. I'm very excited about that 1-2 punch. And when you go, so McNichols I've seen around the league. Like, McNichols has had big games. I remember when Derrick Henry had that injury that kept him out most of the year when he came back in the playoffs. And McNichols had a number of games. He was big on fantasy those couple weeks. So he can do it. Obviously, Jonathan Williams, I love, and then Chris Rodriguez. But the thing about those two is that they're from the old regime. The old regime got them, so they're not going to be necessarily the loyalty to them. So they're going to have to prove themselves as well. I hope we keep Rodriguez. I think Rodriguez is a great compliment to what we have right now. I mean, he can be a bowling ball, and I think he would really help us move the ball. And then if we need to stash one, I guess you'd have to go veteran. But I mean, I'm partial to the guys we had. You know me. I don't like to let guys go. You like Jonathan Williams and my, where's Jared Patterson? Where's he at, man?
Right. You brought up the last point. These are guys that we've had and we don't know. I mean, obviously Eckler and Robinson are going to be in there. I almost wonder if this is a spot where we're only going to keep 3 running backs. Whereas in years past, it's kind of been the battle of who gets the 4th spot, or is it a tight end? Because and it's a really hard look at the roster right now because we don't know what this offense is going to look like. Chris Rodriguez was a pick by last year's team to spell Brian Robinson for how they wanted Robinson to run the offense. That is different. Austin Eckler is out there to spell Brian Robinson so that Robinson gets some breaks. So does that mean we don't need a Chris Rodriguez? Is somebody, I don't know if a Michael Wiley or an Austin Jones has, the ability to break away, and therefore they've got better speed than Rodriguez, and therefore they would be a better fit from this. I don't, and Jeremy McNichols I think played in San Francisco. Adam Peters came from San Francisco. So what does that relationship tell you? What did they see there that he wants here? So I think this is going to be an interesting group to watch. I would probably say that Rodriguez has the inside track going into preseason, going into training camp to keep that 3rd spot. And I think we cap it right there until we find out kind of what the offense is supposed to be.
Yeah. I'm on board with that. But, I want to see what they bring in training camp. Let's see what they bring, going forward. But as we are right now, I think I'm on board with that. I think I agree with you.
Yeah.
All righty. Johnny said, serious question. Do you feel you have a better team than the Jets?
I don't.
Pound for pound.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to – we won, 3 or 4 games last year? If we double 4. Last year's wins, we won 4. So if we double last year's wins, that's a pretty successful season.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And honestly, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. I think we could definitely do that. Because there's a number of teams that were. Go ahead.
Well, so stop yelling at us, Johnny. Turn off your caps.
Right. Oh. All right, let's move on to the
Wide
biggest
receiver.
position right now, wide receiver. Man, talk to me about this, man, because we got a number of guys. We don't have Bayuk, but we did get some guys. So what do we have at wide receiver?
Okay, so there's going to be a lot. There's a lot of new names here. So you've got starters Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson. Okay, from last year. We've got holdovers to Washington in De'Ami Brown, Dax Milne, Jamison Crowder, Bryson Tremaine, Mitchell Tinsley, the guy who made it last year as the sixth guy. All right, now let's talk about some new names. Okay, this guy was here but didn't make the roster last year. You got Kaz Allen, the speedster out of UCLA, the return guy. They brought in Demir Bird, who has bounced around the league for 9 years. He's a fast guy. He made some plays with the Carolina Panthers. You've got a guy named Davion Davis out of Sam Houston State at 5'11", 195. I don't know who this guy is. Draft pick Luke McCaffrey.
Oh, yeah.
You've got undrafted free agent wide receiver out of Georgia, Marcus Rosemead Jack Saint, he's got decent frame, 6'1", 205. And then free agent signing, he's a 6-year vet out of the University of Virginia, Olamide Zaccheaus.
Oh, yeah. Spent the time in Atlanta.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to take this one, just some initial thoughts here, and I'll let you bounce off it. So you've got, and I kind of already said it, there's some spots that are locked. You got Terry and Jahan and Luke McCaffrey because of the draft pick. So 3 spots are locked. I think there's a chance that the most they would take would probably be 6 wide receivers.
Yeah.
I think the next person that I put as he's on the roster would be Zaccheaus because he's a veteran. He can play the slot. He's made plays there before. So I feel like he gets the edge. And so now you're really kind of battling for that 5th and 6th spot. And honestly, I'll say this. I'm not that excited about most of them. So you got Jamison Crowder showed us last year that he's still got a little bit of juice left in the tank. He can make plays. He's also a returner. And with the kickoff rules and even with punts, having somebody that can do that could, be the way to get on the roster. Kaz Allen is a name to look at because people want him to be the returner. They want him to be the threat out of the backfield too. So, if he can catch the ball, because he didn't make it last year because he dropped too many passes in training camp and games.
Yeah.
This is your chance with a new regime to maybe unlock De'Ami Brown, and De'Ami actually, from what I read, maybe our fastest wide receiver aside from.
Oh my goodness.
So the fact that he's got speed that could separate him a little bit.
Can he catch anything, Will? Can he catch anything?
You said it, not me. So I don't know right now. Maybe I'll give Crowder the other spot at 5, mostly because I'll say I don't care who makes it at the 6th spot.
Right.
We had this thing last year when you and Ab did our 53 predictions, and I'm like, whoever makes the 6th spot is just going to be on he's not going to dress on game days. And I said his name was Mitchell Tinsley, and he didn't dress one time. I don't think, barely. So he made no contribution.
That's the thing, man. Like with us getting, and we're going to talk about Ertz, and we're going to talk about Bates and Sennett at tight end. I honestly think we're going to start using more tight ends with these sets. So you have your 3 that you're talking about, McLaurin, Dotson, and Luke McCaffrey. And then, like you said, it becomes what else can you do outside being wide receiver? Because you're not gonna get past them. So De'Ami he's been here for a couple years, but he really hasn't shown much out there. Crowder's a vet, but he also can do returns. I personally would love if Kaz Allen and Mitchell Tinsley, started with this new regime, and maybe they can get in here and get some action in there. But in reality, I think you have to go with the vet, Jamison Crowder, even though he's from Duke. I'll let him slide on that one. But I think you got to go that way. I would try to get a Kaz Allen in here for De'Ami. I would put Diami down to the 7th guy, and if make him be in a position battle and maybe cut him, and then he's one of those guys. Maybe you sign back up on after year 53 or something. You know what I mean? So because he's familiar with the guys in house, and he can work with them. But as far as I just his body of work has just left so much to be desired, and you just look, me, man. I'll defend my Carolina guys to the cows come home. This I can't, man. He kicked me off last year, so we'll see. We'll see with that. But yeah, I think you have to. I think you can start with those 3: McLaurin, Dotson, McCaffrey. You go with the veteran, being Crowder, and then maybe you get one of these young, fresh guys that's really hungry to get in there. And then I just honestly think those tight ends are going to play a bigger role this year. So that's where I'm at.
I'm not, kind of we're getting a chance to really take a deep dive in it. And Johnny said it, Dotson needs to be Dotson again. But I look at this just like our quarterbacks room and go, like, outside of the 3 and I'm excited to see what Luke McCaffrey brings. There's nothing exciting about spots 4 through 6. Like, I love Jamison Crowder, mostly because of his days as when he was with the Redskins. But, like, these guys are Jags,
Yeah. That's why part of me kind of secretly in the Madden weird level, like I wanted to kind of get Ayuk because it was like at least then we have 4 wide receivers that I can be proud of. You know what I mean? Because it is really you really have to like look through and be like, I can't make an argument for any of these guys.
Well, the scariest part is if Terry goes down, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, looking at this roster, like, holy smokes! This is why I said, are we better than the Jets? No. Are we? Is Jaden going to win the Rookie of the Year? Well, I'm going to put it because of the betting odds are over like plus 500. But I mean, Caleb's got a better chance, weapons wise. So yeah. All right, let's move on to tight ends here. You've been talking about, the fact that, you're kind of excited for this. So I'm going to go ahead and say who we've got on the roster, including one guy's name's awesome. So we brought in free agent Zach Ertz. Finally, for years, you and I have been wanting to get him way back when there were rumors that Philly was trying to cut him or trade him. So we got Zach Ertz. We drafted Ben. I still mess up his name. Senate. Yeah, so we Ben Sinnett out of Kansas State. We've got John Bates, the blocker. Coming back off injury is Armani Rogers, the converted tight end from Ohio. We have Cole Turner, and the last one is Colson Yankoff, a 6'4", 225-pound rookie out of UCLA who apparently played the wrong position in college, from what I've heard. Colson Yankoff. All right,
wow, so for the name, I just want him around, man.
Yeah, I'm looking up his picture. I think
for the name,
dude, and he's got golden locks and a mustache like this dude.
Let's go. Let's go. So for me,
Okay. Sean will obviously join right back off. I don't know what happened when he got kicked off. So I'm looking at this tight end room, and it's going to be kind of interesting. I think you're going to be very top heavy, where you're going to see Zach Ertz be out there as a starting tight end most of the time. I think Ben Sinnett's going to play a big role, maybe not as much in the beginning of the roster, but he's going to be a large part of it, and the fact that he can do multiple things. And then I think you're going to have John Bates, who's probably solid for one more season as the blocker. And that's kind of where I'm gonna put it and stop there. I think we're going to see, Armani Rogers was the previous regime was a big fan of Armani Rogers. He's now coming off an injury that really hurt him. Obviously he didn't get to play last year, but there was a lot of hopes with him. He's very athletic. So could that be something? I don't see Cole Turner making this roster. I don't know. I mean, he's going to have the most unbelievable second, third year Zach Ertz type impact in preseason if he's going to make this roster. But also, I don't think you need him to make the roster. Even if he makes some progressions, Cole Turner in his 2 seasons of play has put up less than 10 catches, I think, in his career. So no one's going to go grab this guy off the waiver wire like we did John Ridgeway. So I think he'll get cut and you can bring him onto the practice squad, so you don't need him. And I don't think we need to worry about getting yanked off our roster here. I'm gonna go with just 3 tight ends with the idea of I'll take a look and see what Rodgers and Turner can do as a battle. But this may be the opportunity for a 7th wide receiver if it's a special teams player, a 4th running back if they're a special teams player. So that's going into right now, I really want to see 3 tight ends with the idea I've got my eye on Rodgers.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I think going Ertz, Sinnett, and Bates, I mean, I don't think we go much further than that. Cole Turner has to literally just blow – he needs to blow everybody's socks off, and then somebody needs to get hurt. And that's the only way he's going to – you're going to be able to justify that because, like I said before with the wide receivers, these wide receivers and tight ends, I think it's going to be more of a hybrid group. You know what I mean? We might be able to we might be able to keep an Amari Rodgers and put him at wide receiver for the size. You know what I mean? If we're not trusting some other guys, if they really still like him. So I think you stick with those 3. When I think of Amari Rodgers, I think of Samus Reyes, Anton's guy. You know what I mean? Potential. We hope things could work well, but it's just not in the cards. And then I'm sorry. I really had high hopes for him. I thought he was really taking top off. And when we say be like a Zach Ertz, like that type of guy, but it's not working. So, yeah, keeping the top 3 and keeping it moving.
Cole Turner has been such a disappointment. I mean, you and I love this guy. Yeah. We're like, this is the guy that caught everything. Was he from not from Nevada? So he didn't catch it from Zach Wilson. That was
Carson Strong.
Carson Strong. That's where it was. Yeah. And I mean, it's just, and he's a training camp stud. And all the reporters talk about him he can't be covered. He can't be covered. He makes every catch, and then I don't know. Never shows up. All right.
That's what. But I'm excited. That's why I'm kind of interested this year to see what these coaches see in these players. Because we're still, I kind of feel like you and I are still looking at things from the lens of the Ron Rivera, Eric Bieniemy, and Scott Turner and all that. It was run the ball and utilize wide receivers when we can, as opposed to what we at least think we're going to get, which is a spread, air raid, wide open offense that utilizes backs, tight ends, and wide receivers a lot. So they might see something different and keep them, but I mean, I'm pretty sure what we're thinking about is pretty set on what they're going to do.
I agree with you. Yeah.
So.
Oh, all right. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Offensive line, your second favorite group to talk about.
Let's go.
All right. So I'm going to go through the depth chart a little bit just to help us out, and I think that's kind of set. Where at left tackle, we've got Cornelius Lucas. Left guard, Nick Allegretti, the free agent. Center, Tyler Biotish, the free agent. Right guard, Sam Cosmi. Andrew Wiley at right tackle. You've got Brandon Coleman, the 3rd-round pick at left tackle. So I think those are kind of your 6 absolutes. You've got a couple backups here that have been around before, have been in Washington. Chris Paul at guard. You've got Ricky Stromberg, who's coming off an injury, but he was the 3rd-round pick last year. You've got Trent Scott, who was I think he was on the roster last year, or at least he did that shuffle, almost like that minor league in baseball, minor league, major league shuffle on the roster. He's a big guy at right tackle. You've got the undrafted free agent from the previous year that we gave a lot of money to sign with us, Mason Brooks. Michael Dieter is a veteran center with us, and he's also played some guard. And then the last one you've got is his name is Julian Good Jones. And let me see if I might have missed. There's one person. Oh, yeah. I forgot about Braden Daniels, last year's fourth draft pick, who stubbed his toe and landed on injured reserve.
Forgettable.
Yep. And then there's another guy, an offensive tackle, Alex Akinbulu, as well. And then an offensive tackle, David, not going to pronounce that last name.
Yeah.
So that's where we're at here. So what are your thoughts on the offensive line?
You know how I feel. Keep them all. All right. Yeah, we need as much protection. We need as much protection as we can get. Those first six I'm on board with. I'm really eager to see Stromberg back from injury, and he was playing center, correct?
Yeah, a little bit of center, a little bit of guard.
Yeah. So to see if we can get him in there and work with Biotish, work with these veterans like Alec Reddy, and see if maybe that can help his game so that he can be the next guy up. I love that. I love the guy we got this year.
Coleman,
yes. Get him in there. Honestly, we're gonna need a bunch, but I'm as set as you could be, I guess, with the front five. I still don't like Wiley at tackle, but we clearly didn't make a move on that, so maybe they like it. I don't know. What are your thoughts, man? Because it's still a mix and match line. Like, we're still trying to figure out if any of these guys are actually able to gel and play together. Right.
Well, that's a little bit why I felt that Biotish was such an important signing to help improve this line. I was listening to the podcast with Logan Paulson, Santana Moss, and Fred Smoot. And Fred was saying, hey, listen, last year's weakness does not have to be this year's weakness. And everyone's just going in blasting this offensive line before they've had a chance with this new scheme, with the new coaches to show themselves. And he was particularly talking about Andrew Wiley. He's like, everybody hates this guy, but what if he turns around this year? Fred also his glass is not even half full. It's like full all the time. He's Mr. Positivity. About some things, but I think there's a point to that a little bit. But the challenge that I have with the offensive line is you don't get a chance to really be evaluated until preseason and until the games start, because it's practice out there. And if anything, our defensive line the last couple of years has manhandled our offensive line. And what does the defensive line do in the regular season? Some of those guys, we don't get anything out of Chase Young. There's no sacks out of Chase Young. Yet he can dominate, he can dominate out there in practice. So it's going to be tough.
This guy.
I mean, it's not on paper anything to be excited about. So, fans are not wrong to look at this and be like, ugh, golly.
Right.
I think we're all excited to see, or we're all intrigued to see Brandon Coleman. So I think back to when we drafted Morgan Moses, and no one really had high expectations out of Morgan Moses. And he started week one, almost to the point where it's too bad that we didn't do something, like kind of looking back now, it's too bad we didn't do something better at left tackle, and maybe Brandon could be starting on right tackle, and that may be a little bit of an easier here's coming into the NFL that way and play that way. But just to kind of see, because they talked about how he was the quickest, most athletic lineman out there in minicamp. Like the reporter said, you can see why they're intrigued by this guy. So that'll be interesting. We don't know what we got out of Nick Allegretti, and can he, be somebody more than what he was at previous stops. So it's just hard to evaluate. But on paper, this is not looking good at all. And I think there's absolutely a point of fans to say, you drafted a guy with the second overall pick. You have 3 receivers that you think are going to make this roster, and you've got an offensive line with guys we can't name. That's valid. That's some valid criticism right there.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's why a lot of people and a lot of the pundits are saying we are going to struggle. I've seen people that still think we're going to be in a top 5 drafting next year. So who knows? We'll see. We're very optimistic, thinking 8 wins and things like that. But in truth, when you look at this, there are some holes. There are some things that definitely give you. Johnny said, "Have you guys watched the Giants Hard Knock? If so, what are your thoughts on their offseason?" I'll let you take that one, Will.
I haven't. I have not. I don't have HBO, so I have not been able to watch. I only see the short clips. The clips that I see from it don't make it sound like the Giants are running a much of a competent organization there. But yeah, unfortunately, I love Hard Knocks, but haven't been able to watch it.
Here, as I talked about before, I have been pre-guide, so if it wasn't in the game in the 8:25, then it didn't have. I don't know.
Sean's been going to work and playing college football. Going to work, playing college football.
Yes.
In fact,
yes.
Dinner is even following below that. Food is only a necessity right now for Sean.
Did you see that? Did you see that video I sent you and Alex about a guy that played like all weekend, and then the roommate came back and he was like, "You don't understand. This is real deal, all right? I had to sit here and sell my car just to get this recruit. This is serious. It just means more."
I saw this one where they were talking about, like, you're sitting here at work and the guy's like sitting here just like this, like not paying attention because your recruit is currently on campus at Coastal Carolina. It's like, oh my gosh, this game's taking over.
I'm telling you, man. Oh man, don't make us wait 11 years to get out there. All right.
Right.
Look, let's go on to it. We talked about those.
Uh-oh. All right, so Sean had to bounce just a second. He'll be coming back. What we're going to do next is we're going to talk about what are the position groups that we're looking at. So we had a chance to go through the roster and kind of take a look at who's here in Ashburn, but what positions might be one that we got our eyes on. And for me, I think it's going to be wide receiver. Actually, being completely honest, I'm really kind of surprised how underwhelming that wide receiver group is. But training camp is the time for wide receivers to shine. It's that time where you get the Mitchell Tinsleys of the team that just they come out of nowhere and they show up and they make the roster. You get the Bryson Tremaines, who are the great PR pieces. He's the first guy on the field every single day. He's also the biggest wide receiver out of the group. And so, just kind of seeing, I don't think he's going to make the roster again. But to somebody who's undrafted out of Stanford, Stanford is not the team that they were when they had Jim Harbaugh. And so him making a roster is a big deal, even if it's just, making the practice squad. That's okay too. So, we got that going on. I'll probably keep my eye on the wide receivers a little bit, also just to see if they're progressing, or if we're not getting some good production out of the receivers, are there any free agents out there that we're combing the waiver wire for, just to see. So Sean, you're able to join us. I'm going to take a look at the wide receivers is the group I'm watching. What position group do you have your eyes on? No luck here. There you go. You're back.
Let's see if we can get this strong in a second. All right.
Dun, 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 dun.
Let's go. The Washington Commanders. There it is.
Dun, 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 dun.
Let's go. The Washington Commanders. There it is.
No, hearing that song, it just brings back such memories. Sean's having a little bit of technical difficulties here. We'll see. We'll give him another chance. In the meantime, we'll go through. I'll let him answer that question before. But the next one we were going to talk about is what roster spot, what roster spot battle we're watching. So we kind of went through what groups, but also what do you want to see? And for me, I actually think I really want to see what's going on at tight end. We talked about how underwhelming that group was, but Armani Rogers showed a lot to the coaching staff previously, to the point where prior to him, I think he tore his ACL. Maybe he tore his Achilles. So it was a major injury, but Armani Rogers was someone that they were really seeing as someone being the next taking over. I'm not saying NFL starter necessarily, but one that was going to be featured in there. So I think that's a big deal that we got there, and so I want to kind of see how's he coming back from injury, if he's able to come all the way back, and he's battling up against a Cole Turner and trying to find out is it worth keeping 4 tight ends? Do they show enough in preseason? Cole Turner has had enough opportunities out here that he really just hasn't been showing it. But is this, he's got a better quarterback thrown to him? He may be getting some better tutelage out there from his coaches. And is there a chance that he could, be something more than he has been? Or are we just going to have to roll with